Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Defiant Podcast. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Here is my co-host with the co-most, the legendary Hessinator, Kenny Hess.
Hello, all. Welcome back to another episode. We are happy to have y'all here again today. Sound off in those comments. Lots to talk about today for the first time in forever.
Indeed. It's actually, we've been joking like every week. You say like, oh, nothing much happening. And I'm like, yeah, I was watching the paint dry, but and really, it's kind of bizarre how action packed these weeks have been. It's like, so for starters, the Olympics is on now, and you know what? Like usually every year, or not every year, but every 4 years. Or every 2 years, whatever. When the Olympics is on, because it's like summer, it's the summer, right, and the winter.
Yeah, but I think they're separated by 2 years. So
2 years, right?
Yeah.
I usually watch them. I do. I enjoy them, and actually, this year I am looking forward to breakdancing.
What?
Yeah, they have breakdancing as a category. I'm super psyched about it.
Yeah, okay, me too. That sounds dope.
But have you caught any of the Olympics so far?
No, okay, yes. I think I know where you're going with this. But in terms of the games, I've seen the gymnastics a little bit. I heard we got gold. I saw a little bit of swimming. The one thing that stood out to me too was that the U.S. did not get gold in shooting. What the hell?
Holy shit! That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy. That's news to me. I'm literally today years old when I learned that. Wow.
Yeah, but that's kind of all the coverage I've seen so far.
Good Lord, we have the most guns on the planet. Can't win a shooting competition. That is a shame.
That's a shame.
We also had the elections. Well, we didn't have the elections in Venezuela, but Venezuela had the elections in Venezuela. But Kenny, what happened there?
They tried to have the elections, and then they stopped having the elections, even though it looked like Maduro was going to lose. And then they called in all of the military, and it looked like a coup. And now no one can really verify the results. But yeah, it's very Venezuelan in the way that it's going down, from what I can tell.
Yeah, and I saw a bunch of tweets, people saying like, this is what could happen if Trump gets back in office. And normally you would look at that and think, oh, that's hyperbole, that they're being hyperbolic. But actually, no. He, like earlier this week, he was on with Laura Ingraham. She's friendly for Trump. She's like Fox News staple there, and she's trying to get Trump to disavow comments that he had made that made it very much seem like he's saying, oh, if you vote for me this time, you'll never have to vote again. And the rest of us who heard him say, I'll be a dictator on day one, we're not just letting that go. Oh, that's just Trump being Trump. Oh, no. And so Laura Ingraham is trying to get him to say, well, you didn't really mean that in that way. And he is not taking the hint.
They're also attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that? I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. This was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined, because nobody's ever been treated so badly by this. This administration is destroying Israel, et cetera, et cetera. So with respect to like a statement like I made, that statement is very simple. I said, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. It's true. because we have to get the vote out. Christians are not known as a big voting group. They don't vote. And I'm explaining that to them. You never vote. This time, vote. I'll straighten out the country. You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back
So
to
you meant you don't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office.
Look. Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But just to be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear by the left as well. They're never going to have another election. He's saying there's not. So
first time I've even heard.
Can you even just respond to that?
I said Christians. I started off by saying, just so you understand, you never vote. Christians do not vote well. They vote.
He's just going on about this, that, and the other. He won't address it. He's an idiot.
He never takes the hint. They've tried to lob him softballs like that and walk things back time and time again. That's literally where the dictator on day one comment came from, was Sean Hannity trying to softball him into saying, no, you're not going to be a dictator, right? And he just I don't know if it's not clicking or if he's doing it for the memes or what, but he just continues to go off the rails again and again. At least this time he didn't go on a tangent into Hannibal Lecter.
You know, they go crazy when I say the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? He must be cognitively in trouble.
We'll give him that, I guess.
I think when you say you're not sure if he's not clicking, I don't think he is clicking as much these days anymore as, if clicking means his brain is functioning properly. I don't think his brain is functioning properly. And I think things that he would normally reserve for private conversations, right. They are he's now saying the quiet part out loud all the time,
Yeah.
And then there were the Secret Service hearings, which I guess resumed with a new Secret Service director.
Wow.
Yeah, because the other one
stepped down.
Cheadle, I think her name was Cheadle.
Yeah. Kimberly, I think.
Yeah, she resigned. And I was not impressed by her testimony at all. No. I thought, you know what? You had a full week to prepare yourself for this hearing, and you brought no answers. Everything you're like, I don't know. Well, yeah. What are you doing here?
And she kept. I remember her in her remarks to Representative Raskin, especially. She kept alluding to, or at least trying to use the excuse of well, there's an ongoing investigation. I don't want to give blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, everyone shared the same frustration. It was at least the only positive I feel that came out of it was the fact that people on both sides were finally agreeing that she was being ridiculous. Yeah. And they were just give us answers. What is going on?
I'm so glad you said both sides, because you're absolutely right. This is something that should be a bipartisan concern. It's not we're not just concerned that Donald Trump could be assassinated. We're also concerned that our own people could be. Yeah. We don't want anybody assassinated. That's not the point of elections, is to practice your target practice. Yeah. You're not competing in the Olympics using pictures of our presidential hopefuls.
Yeah.
No. So these are answers that need to be. These are questions that need to be answered, and we didn't get any closer, frankly. I did watch the hearing, which, there was grandstanding by Republicans. Umbrage. Josh Hawley. But I don't think we got any closer to getting an answer to why the hell somebody was allowed to get on a roof 150 yards away from the stage. Right? It's not like there were 50 roofs there. There was the roof right next to the stage. And then there was two more 150, 200 yards away. Why didn't you put somebody on the roof? It's simple as that. Put two guys on the roof. And if it's local law enforcement, put two local law enforcement on the roof. They would have seen the guy climbing up there with the long gun in his back, right?
People at the rally saw it. People in the crowd. There were people pointing him out. There's footage of him climbing up and being there. Like, how are civilians doing your job better than you?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And the other question I still have that still has yet to be answered, right? So I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but God, come on now. The guy was supposedly shot in the ear with a bullet from an AR-15. Those things don't shoot BBs. They shoot bullets. And everybody I've spoken to or conversed with, whatever, they say, if you get grazed by a bullet from an AR-15, it's taking the top of your ear off. But here's an interesting thing I just saw. And sure, everything that you see online is not necessarily so. But check this out, right? I saw this on Reddit. The person says, I nicked my upper ear cartilage over a month ago with electric clippers. Mind you, electric clippers, not as severe as an AR-15 bullet.
No.
While trimming my hair. You can still see the wound.
Yeah, from a month ago with clippers.
Clear as day. Meanwhile, Pete Souza, you know who Pete Souza is?
No.
That's President Obama's legendary historic photographer, the guy who was that guy. He was taking all those, dramatic, Obama pictures.
Yeah.
He posted a picture this past weekend of Trump's ear completely unscathed. And then his account went poof. Yeah. It
what?
Did. So
his Twitter account or
his Twitter account.
Oh, Elon, you son of a gun.
So that's what I thought. And I still kind of do think that. But then some people said, well, if his account was suspended, it would have said account suspended. But now it doesn't say anything. It just says like the account you trying to reach did not provide any results, whatever, which some people say means that he himself deleted his account. Why is Pete Souza just randomly, suddenly he posted a picture of this thing and then he deleted his account?
Yeah.
Excuse
me?
I don't. Come on.
That doesn't make any sense.
Come on.
There's also a great video I saw on Twitter of it's from a longer YouTube video where someone tried to recreate the assassination attempt, and they had like it wasn't porcelain. It was one of those like dummies that is sort of like real flesh, and so they shot at it with an AR-15 to try and graze the ear in the way as close to replicating what happened at the rally as they could. Mm-hmm. And I saw like a great clip on Twitter, I think, of it just like blowing through the thing, and he was like, they were obviously like, it's a gun YouTube channel, so I mean, I'm pretty sure they're all like pro.
Question.
Yeah.
How close to the consistency of a human ear was the material of the dummy they used?
Pretty close. It's like, it's one of those like very realistic test dummies. I think it had like even skull fragments that were, or like replications of skull fragments. It's like one of those, I don't know what the terminology for the material is, but it's like, if you ever watched Mythbusters, the stuff that they had on there whenever they're like replicating like human dummies or whatever. So it looked pretty close, and he got a pretty close shot where it just grazed it and it like tore it right off or whatever.
Wow.
So they came to the conclusion that he was not shot by a bullet. But
did they have the dummy turn its head? Because that could also play a part. I'm not trying to make excuses for this guy, because he's saying that he was hit by a bullet. Even the guy who was I think there was an FBI guy in the Secret Service hearings too, and he said there is no doubt that he was struck by a bullet. And he said that the way he worded it made it seem like he was leaving a door open for maybe a bullet ricocheted and then sliced itself in half, and then he got hit by a fragment
Right.
of a bullet.
Maybe
But
they
where's
seem
the
to.
wound? Where's
I
the
don't know.
wound? Come
That's
on.
really crazy. Like if you had that much blood, I mean, sure. The ear is like whatever. I actually almost ripped my lower earlobe off when I was a kid at Easter, and I have like 22 stitches in here that you can still see to this day.
How did you?
Oh
rip it?
God, little bit of my ear got caught on a fence. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. And it was crazy.
Which ear was it? Was it your right or left?
My left ear. Yeah.
So that's funny that you should say that, because when I was about 4 or 5, my mom was cutting my hair. And she was I guess she was doing a good job, because she got excited and happy about it. Cha la 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 la, snip, left ear, earlobe. And I was screaming. I do remember.
Yeah.
This was traumatic enough.
Yeah,
that
you
I
remember those things.
Yeah. She picked me up and we ran. This was when we lived in the Bronx at the time.
Yeah.
And she ran down, I think it was University Avenue. She ran, had me in her arms and ran me to the clinic.
Wow.
Yeah, that took a long time to heal. It was my earlobe just hanging.
Dude, same. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't see my ear, but like I knew it was fucking bleeding.
We're earlobe brothers, bro.
We are. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah. So with that said, those are the things that I said before the show. I said we weren't gonna spend that much time talking about what we ended up spending some time talking about them. But really, we actually do have some other topics that I would love to cover in a segment that I like to call "I'm Old Enough to Remember When." So let's start off with I'm old enough to remember when the Democratic Party was in complete disarray with all the enthusiasm of a funeral procession. And now it has been transformed. It has been shot with an injection of B12 vitamin. The enthusiasm is overflowing, the optimism, whatever you want to call it. Like I remember, I'm old enough to remember when President Biden, after that debate, do you remember how morose everybody was?
Dismal.
And so that was followed up by a full year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years of the media talking about just how old Joe Biden was. That's all we heard. God damn it. We're trying to say, hey, he's doing some great things with the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure and the chips and the PACT Act. But he's old.
But he's old.
Man, but he's old. So
just nonstop, incessant. It was, and then all these people like talking smack behind closed doors, not even coming out into the open. Blah blah blah. It was like, I think Jon Stewart made a joke about it too. 2 days ago or whatever. That was like, it was like a funeral procession, but it was like, oh my God, like what? Everyone was just so down in the dumps, man.
Yeah. And, we were at an inflection point, I guess, because I was still fully supporting Joe Biden, 100%. I was like, man, we're going to ride this horse all the way to election day. And then he said, on second thought, I'm going to step aside and let Kamala Harris take it. And suddenly everybody was like, yeah, boy.
Dude, the internet went into like ramped up mode. The memes just started coming out like crazy. Kamala Harris and the brat meme with the Charlie XCX stuff. Like,
oh yeah, I still don't know what brat means, dude.
Oh, it's just a Charlie XCX album that was very highly critically acclaimed. She's a phenomenal artist. She's like the queen of pop currently, I guess you could say. And
really,
you know,
Charlie XCX.
Yeah, she's it's just like one of her best albums ever. She's been in the game for quite a while, and then she's having like her height of her career moment kind of thing. And so a lot of people really enjoy the album. Myself personally, I fucking love that album. It's great. I also really love Charlie XCX. I have for a while. But it also like it hits very big among the queer community too. So they're all like, you know, Brat Summer is like, you know, if you're partying, if you're feeling yourself or whatever, you're a brat, and that's like it's a good thing. And so everyone was like, come on, Kamala's brat. And the internet was like, let's run with that. That's great.
Interesting. I clearly live in an old man silo, but despite the fact that I am shielded from all things that are Charlie XCX and brat, I am aware that over the past week there have been fundraising Zoom efforts that have just been phenomenal, and I'm talking like. They had first, I think it was the Black Women for Harris that was 44,000 Black women on a Zoom call that raised over $1 million. And then it was Black Men for Harris that raised like about $1 million plus. Then there was white women for Harris, and they raised a bunch of money. And then there was white dudes just a few days ago. And that was cool as hell because, I mean, it was chock full of celebrities. Everyone from Mark Hamill to the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Jeff Bridges.
Thank you. Jeff Bridges.
Wait, Mark Hamill. Yeah, it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. Mark Hamill. Sam from Lord of the Rings. Sean Astin.
Yes. Josh Gad was there. J.J. Abrams was there. Pete Buttigieg. Tom Waltz. I forget what is his name.
Tim Waltz, the governor.
Waltz. Yes. Yeah. He was on there. He had a really good like speech or whatever. Dude, there were so many people. I just made a video about it yesterday or two. Yeah, whatever. And I was watching the whole thing, and I was just like, this is insane. Joseph Gordon-Levitt had like a really good 5-minute spiel where he was talking about, you know, talking about Trump being a businessman and talking about how there's two types of businessmen. You know, you can be like a good business person that actually has a product to provide to people and cares about their customers, cares about their employees. And then you have another type of successful businessman, but it's the con man, who scams his way into power or wealth or whatever. And while you can consider them monetarily successful, you know, they're treating people like garbage. They don't care. They only want the money. And he said he had some really good counterpoints that he set up and like knocked down, where it was like, the first one was obviously, oh, I don't like Trump. I think he's really a bad person, but he's a businessman. Right. And that's how he brought in but he's a con man. That's not a real business. That's not the businessman you want. And then there were people who were like, he's like, and to those people who say, yeah, I guess, but like, you know, we need someone like that to go against the other countries and make them pay their fair share and and he was like, that's not how the world works, dude. That's not it.
Absolutely right. Yeah. People will just twist themselves into rhetorical pretzels just to try to advocate or rationalize their reason for backing a clear con man. And as you described Joseph Gordon-Levitt's speech, I suppose that was very, very well put. So, and then this past also there was pet lovers for Harris. And so that happened this week. And I think on Saturday, on Twitter, Saturday is Catter Day. Hashtag Catter Day.
That's awesome.
And so they will be taking over the internet and continuing to raise money and raise awareness for the Harris campaign. So I'm excited about, you know, the coalescing of coalitions, right? These are disparate groups, disparate groups, whatever. These are very different. These are groups from different people, different demographics, who are all coming together and saying, we want to vote for freedom. We want to vote for the future. We want to vote for Kamala Harris. And it's exciting. I haven't seen this kind of excitement since 2008.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of articles that suggest that. I think AOC mentioned that she recently she felt the same way, because that was also the first election that she was able to vote for Barack Obama. That was the same for me, and I feel very much the same as energized as back then. And it's just like you said, it's fantastic to see all of that rallying and support, and just like this excitement, and what a 180 like we talked about, which is crazy. Someone who's not having excitement though, which is great for us, but is Donald Trump, because I'm old enough to remember when nominating conventions used to actually result in a bump in the polls for the main party's candidate. We haven't seen that. We have completely taken the narrative and swept out the rug from under them, and it feels great, man.
Zero bump whatsoever. In fact, not only did he not get a bump from the RNC, which, it was a snooze fest, frankly, despite the fact that they had crazy racist Hulk Hogan up there ripping his shirt open, and they had
ripping the American flag, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course. That's totally on brand for them.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there, it was a complete snooze fest. But aside from the RNC, a lot of people, just a few days prior to the RNC starting, was the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And so a lot of people were saying they expected him to get a sympathy bump in the polls, and I'm guessing that's why everybody was walking around with the oversized gauze on their ears, because remember the ear.
Oh man. Let's put a maxi pad on
it. And so he didn't get a bump from that. He didn't get a bump from the RNC. And then no sooner than the RNC was over, that's when Joe was like, "Hey, look over here, because I'm stepping out.
Look at these keys. Look at these keys.
New shiny thing." And the news cycle pivoted immediately from Trump and his magically healing ear to new shiny thing, Kamala Harris, energized candidacy, endorsements up the wazoo from and even how the endorsements rolled out. They started off with governors, it was Democratic governors all over, and then there were people from the House coming up, and then finally you had the leaders of the House. You had Hakeem Jeffries, you had Speaker Pelosi, you had Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader. And then last but not least, as the cherry on the cake, was President Barack Obama.
Yeah.
So, you're absolutely right. The thunder was stolen from Donald Trump's RNC. And I'm not sad about it.
No, me neither. Because he thrives when the media landscape is focused on him, whether it's good news, bad news, whatever. So the absolute worst thing for him is to not be talked about. And
what? Oh,
go ahead.
So, okay.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm old enough to remember when Democrats used to have a lot more creative ways of talking about Donald Trump, because we are still talking about him.
Sure.
But there's been a change in how we describe Donald Trump. So just as a little experiment, let's you and me go back and forth. Let's have a little lightning round of, one word to describe Donald Trump. I'll start: disrespectful.
Okay. Con man.
Unhinged.
Dementia.
Unfit.
Predator.
Convicted felon.
That's 2 words, but okay, we can take that. Adjudicated sexual assailant.
All right, we'll take that. Rude.
Ooh, disgusting.
Mm.
Did you say that one already?
No, we'll go with that. And so, anyway, we could literally be here. We could spend an entire hour throwing out adjectives to describe him. But it seems like the Democratic Party has coalesced around one word to describe Donald John Trump. And that word is
weird. How weird?
It's weird that they settled on weird, I think.
Right? I think so.
Or at least that's what I thought in the beginning. I thought weird was it was kind of tame. And you know that there's a movie where I think it's what's the Mean Girls? Is it Mean Girls where one of the characters says, "Stop trying to make fetch happen," or whatever, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm seeing this, I'm like, stop trying to make weird happen. Yeah. But then it occurred to me, right? It dawned on me that the way Donald Trump's brain works, it's the most like low, it's the most low-tech words that really hurt him the most. Like loser. Loser is like probably one of the worst things you could call him, right? Yeah. But weird is weirdly accurate to describe the totality of who this guy is. Yeah. You know, he wears freaking orange makeup so thick that you can often see on his white shirts, you can see where it's rubbed off. Yeah. You know, that you can see where his makeup artists forgot to, color his ears. So his face is all orange, but the ears just missed the makeup. Yeah. And like the list of weirdness things for him just is endless. Like, why does he have so many pictures with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah. Yeah. And why does he say weird stuff about his daughter?
Oh my God.
Sheesh.
Gag reflex. Gag reflex. Yeah.
I've seen that clip way too many times. I think it's interesting too, because now that you're bringing out these points, you're kind of swaying me to your side of the coin here, because the more I think about it, it's like he acts weird, he looks weird, he thinks weird, he talks weird, he embodies weird. Where Kamala is brat, Donald Trump is weird. And I guess that's like, I do still think it's a little tame, and I think we should be using these other convicted felon. Right. I like it a lot.
It's a catch-all. Like,
that's a good point.
What else would you call a guy who dances like he's jerking off two dudes? He's dancing to YMCA, which is like, you
moves, dude.
You couldn't pick a song from like the 90s. Even you have to go way back to 1970 something. And ironically, he is so like anti-gay, but that like YMCA is pretty much it's a gay anthem. But I love this song, but
me too.
And look, anytime it plays, I'm like YMCA. I don't care where I am. I will do the letter.
Hell yeah, dude! Great memories.
But he's a weird dude. Why does he talk so much about Hannibal Lecter?
That blows my mind. Like, where the hell did that even come from? And why does he keep going back to it? Like, you would think you'd be like, oh yeah, that was a blooper. My bad. Not gonna do that again. No. Even the sharks. Where the hell did that come from?
He doubles and triples down on it.
On the weirdness. On the weirdest shit.
Claims to be Christian, can't recite a verse, Can't tell you a favorite thing from the Bible.
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Hardly ever goes to church. Has broken every last commandment there is.
Yeah. How ironic.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
But
what
he's-
was I gonna? I was gonna. I wanted to say that weird also extends to his vice presidential pick, JD Vance.
Yeah. Almost more so at this point.
I saw this thing. I don't know. Do you watch Last Week Tonight? with
Hell
John
yeah.
Oliver?
I love that show.
Oh my
Yep.
God. So he had this whole thing where there was a big thing. I'm sure you already know the big thing this past week about JD Vance and couches. Like there probably are, hundreds of memes about JD Vance and couches, and people who are unfamiliar with it will be like, what's the deal? So somebody in a tweet said that JD Vance might be the only vice presidential pick who has ever written about having sex with a glove that was inserted into the cushions of a couch, and then actually listed the page numbers of pages in the book Hillbilly Elegy.
Yep.
And so that kind of gave that whole specificity of the accusation gave it, legitimacy. And people they didn't even bother to follow up because who wants to buy this book?
Hillbilly Elegy.
Right? Nobody's trying to buy that shit. So the internet just took it and ran with it. And it hasn't been, as John Oliver pointed out, it hasn't been denied.
Mm-hmm. Actually, not by the campaign either, but the AP initially posted a fact check about it and then took down the fact check because they couldn't credibly disprove it, I guess.
Dude, the words in the fact check said, no, JD Vance did not have sex with a couch.
Yeah, I think Vox ran an article that said, no, JD Vance did not have sex with a couch, but he's still weird. I think that was a direct quote.
And so if you are spending half your time defending an event that may or may not have happened, and the other half of your time you're spending defending really shitty things that you've said about
your new boss,
childless, quote unquote, childless cat ladies. Why on earth would you open up that can of worms to paint a target on yourself with, right?
Yeah.
He basically, I'm going to summarize what his attack on childless cat ladies was. He's making the argument that people who don't have children should not have as much a say in how this country is run. And so their votes, he says, should count less than the votes of people with children. And he further went to say that if you have children, your children should be given the right to vote, but parents have control over that vote. So he's basically saying, yeah, dude, he's basically saying that if you have kids, you should have more votes than the childless people, which is what the fuck?
Well, I mean, hey, in his defense, it is very on brand because now they're taking away the kids' rights as well. So it's just, trickle down, take away your rights.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah. So that, it's all starting to make sense now why there's such a push to deny people the right to have an abortion, especially and JD Vance, he doesn't even allow for exceptions for rape or incest. That guy.
Of course he does.
And it makes sense why they are pushing for people to have more kids, even though they don't want to support child care.
Child tax credit that
child
lifted
tax
tons
credit.
of kids out of poverty, and now it's reversed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Fuck all that. Fuck the kids, except, when they're in the womb, then it's fine. Then we need that vote. We need the parent to control that vote. What the flipping hell?
And he's not helping Trump.
No, he's not. He's not
hurting him.
Before we jump into that, I think this is friggin' hilarious because we just mentioned we got the couch thing, we got the cat ladies, right? So we talked earlier about the pet lovers for Kamala Harris Zoom that got put together. In this article that talks about it, first of all, they started the meeting with a slideshow of pet pictures that played "Dancing Queen" by ABBA over it, which is peak. Just no notes. Nancy Pelosi surprise guest came in, and then the Pelosi said in the meeting, when JD Vance couched his opinion on our freedom, we decided that the cat ladies are striking back. He didn't realize what an opportunity he was giving us and what it would unleash. Bravo.
Oh man,
Bravo.
Well played.
Right?
Well played. Yeah.
It's like so subtle, but
I think there was a time when Speaker Pelosi's daughter had said something like, she'll cut your head off and you won't even know that you're bleeding. Or something, something to that effect. Yeah, she's no joke. I would never go up against Speaker Pelosi, that's for sure.
No.
But yeah, he's not only is JD Vance not helping Trump, he's like a negative, right? Mm-hmm. He's drawing negative attention.
Yep.
And this has got to be driving Trump even more crazy, is that he's drawing attention away from Trump. You know how Trump loves the spotlight.
Yes. That's a great point.
Yeah.
He's a drag.
I love it.
Me too, man. I couldn't be happier, honestly.
Because vice presidential picks, I think we talked about this last week or the week before. They don't normally move the needle, right?
Right.
But now that it's clear that Donald Trump has saddled himself with such a loser of a VP pick, that now makes Kamala Harris's selection of a VP candidate even more critical, because this is the person who is going to ultimately face off against this trash can of a vice presidential pick in JD Vance. Whoever she picks is going to hopefully mop the floor with JD Vance. And there's some front runners.
There are some front runners. Yes. There's a few. Oh, wow. Actually, the percentages have changed. I am looking at a Polymarket. I wouldn't call it a poll. It's just like a chance of who's going to be the pick. And right now, if you're a betting person,
do you have like a top four?
I have a top four. So top one, 75% chance is Josh Shapiro.
Wow.
Which
75?
75%. And the next person after that, Andy Bashir, drops down to 10%. Then you have Mark Kelly at 7%. These are just betting odds, I guess. And then Tim Waltz at 6%.
Interesting. I like Tim Waltz, actually. I was saying before that I like Mark Kelly more because he's an astronaut, and he's also a senator from Arizona. But then we have some viewers who are like, no, don't take don't take our senator away. We're trying to keep that Senate seat. So, but Tim Waltz, I don't know if you've seen him on some of these talk shows, the political talk shows. Man, he would make a very effective attack dog. That's primarily the job of the VP.
That's a good point. Yeah, he was going in, like I said, on the White Dudes for Harris call. He had a really good line, something about like how often do you get a chance to like change the world so much, and how often do you get a chance to stick it to someone like Donald Trump or stick it to that bastard or whatever, and have him know that a black woman did that to him, and he did that for the rest of his life. I was like, hell yeah. It was a great,
But we can't take I can't take anything away from Josh Shapiro, the front runner in this VP sweepstakes, because the guy has the goods. I remember when I drove to Philadelphia in, I think it was 22. Was that the year that Fetterman was running?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, then that's the year I drove to Philly for a rally, and that was when President Obama was there, and Joe Biden was there, Josh Shapiro, and John Fetterman. It was like, wow, it was amazing. And when I heard Josh Shapiro speak, I was like, that dude's going to be president one day. I literally just thought those words to myself.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he was an attorney general too for Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So two people who convict criminals running against a convicted criminal.
That's right.
That's pretty good.
It's an embarrassment of riches on the Democratic side.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, Trump and MAGA Republicans are flailing. They're now stuck having to defend this old motherfucker who is weird, who's a convicted felon. He says the same old shit every rally, like the Hannibal Lecter thing in the sharks and the water from your shower doesn't have enough pressure. You know what?
For your gas cars.
Are you running to be president? Or are you running to be the old guy at the end of the bar who's complaining about shit? Right?
Yeah.
So meanwhile, the Republicans and Trump, they are struggling to land any kind of effective attack on Kamala Harris. So if they're not saying racist, repugnant, misogynistic things about her, the latest attack, I think, was that she is anti-Semitic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow, with a Jewish husband, who would have thought? I wonder how that relationship works. Wow.
I saw another tweet that accused her of, this was that guy Jack Posobiec said that she was anti. Oh wait, no, it was a Trump. He was reposting a Trump Truth Social thing where he was Donald Trump was accusing Kamala Harris of being anti-Catholic.
Okay.
All right. So,
cool.
Just to be clear, Joe Biden is Catholic. Just so we're clear on that. And besides, the Democratic Party isn't really anti any. You know what we're anti? We're anti-white supremacist, right? We're anti-Nazi.
Yeah.
We're anti-fascism.
Yes.
Those are the things that we're anti, but as far as religions, we don't give a fuck what your religion is, what your sexual preference is. We don't care what your race is. We don't care about any of that stuff.
Nope, but done the right, it's just all about identity politics and making someone the other and making someone the assailant on whatever, minority like evangelicals or whomever that you need to rile up to get their vote. And it's disgusting. It's weird. It's weird and disgusting.
Also, they spent about a week or maybe a little bit less than a week calling her the border czar. Did you hear it? Did you catch
I heard
stuff?
A ton of that. Yep.
Yeah. So the idea was to target Kamala Harris because she wasn't the border czar. Let's be clear. She wasn't the border czar. She was sent to look into the cause of migration. Why do people, embark on that hazardous, dangerous journey to the United States, to America? Why are they doing this? What are the causes? That's what she was literally sent down there to do, right? Mm-hmm. She wasn't sent down there to, work on policy because that's Congress, right? Mm-hmm. It's an act of Congress. So they were thinking that they were going to clobber Kamala Harris with, this border czar thing and, beat her up on immigration. Well, you know what she did yesterday in Atlanta?
No, what?
She had a spicy little bit in her speech where she brought up that whole thing about the border bill. You remember bipartisan border bill?
Hell yeah, I remember that. The one where Republicans shot down because Donald Trump needed something to run on.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So she brought. Not only did she bring that up, but she said, as president,
Nice.
she said, as president, I will bring back that bipartisan border bill, and I will sign it into law, and I will show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. Where's Quavo? So look, our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down. Right. He tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. Which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem. So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law and show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like.
Boom!
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, absolute mic drop moment from her.
Oh, she had another one too.
Oh,
yeah? Another one. Oh, yeah, she did. She happened to mention the fact that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance had a lot to say about Kamala Harris. They're doing a lot of talking about Kamala Harris, right? But,
Yep.
But they are avoiding a debate. Donald Trump is avoiding a debate with Kamala Harris. So you know what she said?
What'd she say?
She said, if you have something to say to me, say it to my face.
Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
Damn. God, I want to see that debate so bad.
The audience erupted.
Wow.
And it's funny, MAGA, this morning, my replies are full of people because I posted a clip of the crowd there, and the crowd they're all there waving their Harris placards, waving. I forget what they call it. They call it like, it's not, I think they call it swag surfing, right?
Nice.
Where everybody is holding the little swag, and they're swaying at the same time, so it looks very well coordinated.
Awesome.
And so people are trying to say, well, that's not a rally, that's a Megan Thee Stallion concert, that's a rap concert. Really? So when's the last rap concert you went to where everybody had a political placard? Huh?
Yeah.
Where's the last rap concert you went to where you had multiple people step up and give political speeches prior to the main person giving a political speech for president? When's the last rap concert you went to that featured that kind of thing?
Ridiculous. Also, what a terrible and like lazy attack against a political rally. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, Megan Thee Stallion had a fucking phenomenal line, like mic drop moment too, right before she started her song "Body," the body yada yada yada. She was like, if you love your body, something along these lines. I'm gonna butcher it, but she was like, if you love your body, I know all you love your body, and if you want to keep loving your body, you're gonna vote for Kamala Harris. Because they're trying to take away your motherfucking right to abortions. Nice.
Yeah,
shouldn't say that part, but
yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. I think the other thing MAGA is mad about is that, one of their biggest boasts was about Donald Trump's crowd size, right? Mm-hmm. They're always talking about, Joe Biden can't draw a crowd like this, and they'll show pictures of when we were in a pandemic and Joe was doing the responsible thing and having like these very sparsely attended events. And frankly, I was like, man, I don't need to go to anything in the year 2020 with that raging virus out there. No, I'll stay my ass at home and we'll vote for Joe Biden.
Yep.
But now there are people coming out in droves to support Kamala Harris. And it's not like nobody's dragging their feet to go there. No. They're like enthusiastically attending these events.
Yeah. And that's the difference.
Indeed. So we have time for a You Raggedy Bish today, don't we?
I think we got some time. We'll close it out with a nice Raggedy Bish.
Let's go. You
All right.
Raggedy Bish. And this week's Raggedy Bish, it's going to take us all the way back to the beginning of this episode when we were talking about the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Specifically, the part of the Olympics that I missed. Well, I missed most of the Olympics so far. Me too. But I did manage to catch this part online on Twitter, and it was the opening ceremony. Mm-hmm. So it started off pretty exciting. Actually, it had some like some rock music and some. It was like they recreated Marie Antoinette with her decapitated head, in her lap, singing or whatever. But then there was a part of this thing that had the words blasphemy. Blasphemy was trending on Twitter, where a lot of religious Christian enthusiasts took umbrage at the fact that a particular scene in the opening ceremony looked as though it were a recreation of the Last Supper as reimagined with people in drag. Mm-hmm. But Kenny, that's not what it was it?
No, because people don't want to fact check or look into things. No, it is a depiction of a different festival of the god Dionysus, who is the god of festivities. Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different painting. It stems from Greek mythology, as does the Olympics stem from ancient Greece. Not everything's about you, evangelicals.
Thank you.
Sit down, Karen. For fuck's sake.
Yes.
So yeah, they got all uppity and up in arms and got their panties in a bunch and thought they were trying to make fun of their dear sweet Jesus, their dear sweet white Jesus. But no, no, that was not even what it was. But look, let's be honest, they were just probably sure they're going to run with that route. but they're just mad to see representation of people in drag. That's a huge culture war issue for them that they will say is more dangerous to our children than guns in schools. Go fucking figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just another reason for the right to show how hurt their feelings are and how little snowflakes they are, because people are trying to make fun of Jesus, and I don't like that. And meh, like, dude,
you know, I can't think of a single drag brunch reading that resulted in multiple children being shot to death. I can't.
You know, neither can I.
If you want to get mad about something, get mad about that. Get mad about the fact that it is so easy to access weapons of war, assault weapons, that our kids are in danger of being victims of a mass shooting at any time, at any day, any time of the week. And that's something that parents across the world don't have to worry about. They have other things to worry about, but they don't have to worry about their kids. You know, I'm saying goodbye to my kid today, might be the last time I ever see him alive. You know,
think about that next time. Get mad at that. Get mad at things that really matter.
And the evangelicals, man, come on. You got to embarrass us on the world stage, you know, because what you do, it reflects poorly on the rest of us. It's not like people in, excuse me, it's not like people in Europe will say, well, it's not all the American. He's only the, how you say, evangelical. He's only them. No, they say all Americans. We all get painted with that stupid, ignorant brush. So for that, evangelicals, you are this week's You Raggedy Bitch.
You raggedy bitch.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. And then they couldn't even take golden shooting. What a dumbass. Anyway, maybe we cut that. I don't know.
Folks, thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the Defiant Podcast. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant.
And I am your co-host, Kenny Hess, a.k.a. the Hessinator.
Stay defiant.